Chapter 15 Mysterious. Heading down the space between the walls, it quickly became clear to both Elle and Anthea that they had no idea where they were actually going. Sure, they could only get so many places while stuck in between the walls, but as far as the layout of the house or where the walls were connected, they were completely clueless. The farther they ventured, the more their confidence in escaping through the walls diminished. Being in the space between the walls, you would think there would be only one way to go, straight. But as someone of a very small size, there were many directions, holes, and crevices to take when exploring. For the most part, Elle just stuck to the main wall corridor, but they quickly ran into a problem. The basement was a rectangle shape, and after turning right so many times, they realized they were only heading in circles around the room. If they wanted to escape the house, they were going to have to climb up and out of the walls, or up the stairs, which they were trying to avoid because of the giant lurking around in the house. Elle looked at the wall and attempted to climb it. Considering the size of the boards of wood, Elle didn't have much to grab on and ended up slipping and falling down after only getting a couple of feet up. They tried again after finding a piece of wood that had more texture, which made it easier to climb up, but again, they only got a few feet up before losing their grip and falling down. Elle looked at Anthea, who was perched on their shoulder, and she shrugged. She was just as lost as they were, but maybe she had a trick up her sleeve. Or rather, that magical bag of hers.
If you give that light string a tug, it will actually begin to float. Go on, give it a try,
Anthea said, nudging Elle's neck and smiling. Elle quickly lowered his right wrist that Anthea had tied the floating light to, causing it to flutter downward, and then upward they went. Elle floated higher and higher by the wrist as the light took them up the walls. They surveyed the area as they floated up, but so far they hadn't seen any tunnels or way out of the walls. And then, they stopped ascending. Elle looked upwards to find that they had reached the ceiling and were at a standstill. They looked around, but they saw nothing but plain walls and nowhere to go. Elle hung there, then tried to reach the wall, swinging by the bright light tied to the wrist.
I see that you could use some help.
A mysterious voice was suddenly heard, echoing throughout the corridor of the walls, startling both Elle and Anthea.
I've been watching you from the walls. If you go up to the second floor of the house to the first room on the right, I'm sure you will find the help that you need, the voice said.
Who are you? Where are you?
Anthea demanded, looking around very nervously.
All will be explained. Follow this rope to the first floor of the house. If you whistle to the bird, it will follow your every order.
Just as the voice stopped, a rope dropped to their side from the darkness, as if out of nowhere.
Hey!
Anthea shouted, but there was no reply. Elle started to reach for the rope when Anthea interrupted, startling them.
You're going to trust a voice like that? You don't even know who it belongs to,
she said, looking worried. There was no other choice. They were stuck in the house of a giant who was out for their lives. Even if they couldn't trust the voice, maybe they could find a way out of the house by following this rope. Elle grabbed it, climbing their way up to the first floor of the house and through a hole in the wall. After looking at their surroundings, they could tell they were at the entrance of the house because the cage of the bird that had grabbed them earlier was in the corner of the room. Elle put their fingers in their mouth and whistled. Because of their size, the whistle was much more quiet than they had anticipated, but it was loud enough for the bird to hear, who was now looking straight at them.